Alrighty, we are back with another episode of Seminoles Sideline 365, and back again are both of us, KB, the old man. I need to rearrange us because we're not our usual size, but yeah, we're back again. Seminoles Sideline 365 on a Wednesday, right before the big Cheez-It Bowl, last game of the season. But the old man is by my side once again. We are back as a duo for this live show. As always, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, like the video, we appreciate a little support. And yeah, we're here to break down the big game tomorrow. How's it going, old man?
Great. Everything's good, man. Had a great holiday. How about you?
Yeah, it's freezing where I am right now. We had to battle through some 15-degree weather. Hit the high 30s today, which was good. So I can't complain about that. It's a lot more than it used to be. But
well, it's cold. Yeah. You know, it's cold down here in Florida too. I mean, we're about 2 hours. I'm in Tampa, 2 hours from Orlando, where the Cheez-Its Bowl is going to be played, and it's actually been very cold down here. Lost some of the plants due to a couple of freezes. I mean, it get down in the 30s and 20s here, but the weather's really warming up now. So this is going to be a big test for the climb.
Yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow. We haven't had a game in almost 30 days. It seems, almost 30 days. Thanksgiving matchup against Florida, which was a shootout to say the least. And I think tomorrow will be an interesting one. I think I have a couple of news and notes before we get into the matchup.
Wait a minute.
All right.
Let's not hustle into this.
I said we had some things to go over before.
I had a great purchase today.
Can you take it solo while I go grab a drink real quick?
Sure, absolutely.
I'll let you take this solo.
I know you've been rushing around all day, but I had a great purchase today, and I want you to understand how good this was. I wish I would have gotten it earlier, like a couple weeks ago. The Cheez-Its Bowl, right there. The Cheez-Its Bowl. How many fans out there have a box of Cheez-Its? Now, they have a bunch of different kinds, but this is the original Cheez-Its. These go back to when I was a kid, and that was a long time ago. But look on the back. You could have gotten free tickets to the Big Cheese, to be the Big Cheese at, I guess that's the championship game. It's not the Cheez-Its Bowl. I thought it was the Cheez-Its Bowl. I didn't read it carefully enough. But you can still get in on this contest. So you go in.
Oh, God.
You know what? I got them at Publix. Look, buy one, get one free.
I'm sorry I left and let you guys give him his.
You get one free. So, he doesn't like me eating on my cookies. So I'm going to be snacking on the Cheez-Its tonight. So Cheez-Its, go out and get them. They're not our sponsor, but they have a code on the back, and you can register for the championship game. I don't think it's too late yet.
Well, woo-hoo! One thing, Island Boy, go Knowles all the way. Great comment there. That's a great way to start the show. One thing I do have to correct you on, though, is that I read through, on Twitter, someone got corrected. It's not Cheez-Its. It's Cheez-It is the official.
Cheez-It. Yeah, it's not plural. Look, right there it is. Now, it doesn't get any more official than that.
Yeah.
Cheez-It original. Now, they also have whole wheat. They have jalapeno. They should be paying us for this. Okay.
I don't think that's going to be anytime soon, but they want to throw us a few I don't really like Cheez-It, but
my dad loved Cheez-It.
That's not going to help with the sponsorship. But
that's probably why he had 2 open heart surgeries.
Well, we don't need to go down that road. What's going on, Mike? Great to see you. Go Knowles. Great to see you, man. But okay, there's our plug there. But yeah, a couple of news and notes to go through, I guess, while we're going through it. On the recruiting trail, as we kind of covered earlier this week, I think it happened on Monday. We landed a big. Please don't open the crackers. Okay, I gotta mute you. I can mute you while you're opening the crackers. Okay. because it's super loud. It's super loud. We landed the big defensive interior lineman, Brandon Fisk. That's the biggest news leading up to Bowl Day. That was a huge land. It's something that we had discussed on one of our kind of little small on-demand shows earlier this past week, leading up to Christmas. Was could they land a guy like Braden Fisk out of the portal, and Seminoles do. So that's 2 interior defensive linemen that Florida State does land, and I think it's a huge get for them. So you get the kid from Miami who's going to have a couple of at least a year or two to to have on the defensive line, which I think he's probably underrated for what you're going to get from him. I think he's probably a 4-star transfer based on what you get out of him. And then you get Braden, who has 1 year of eligibility. He's going to be a 5th-year guy, but he's a flexible guy. He can play interior and exterior, and that's how they presented.
He's a 300-pound guy.
Exactly, but they like him, and he said in his comments that he likes the versatility of how they believe that he'll be used. Because that makes him more valuable at the next level, interior and exterior. But I think, once again, the interior of this line is where they struggled. And depending on who you may lose, you don't know, Fabian Lovett's going to come back. I expect you're going to get Fabian Lovett back. But I think that interior line needed to get some new additions. I think we all did, because that in the games that you lost, you got gashed at the middle. And you need guys, you don't need, Fabian Lovett and guys like that, those big guys in the middle that we have today, Cooper, those guys aren't guys that push the middle, right? Those aren't guys that collapse the middle and push it back to the quarterback. They hold their gap, right? They hold those gaps in the A gap, stuff like that. They do not push the pocket backwards. A guy like Braden is a guy that does that. He's athletic and pushes his lineman backwards. Whereas Fabian Lovett, Cooper, they draw the double team. They draw the double team and hold the line. You need a guy like Braden who can push his guy backwards, along with a defensive line or a defensive edge guy like Verse, Peyton, and other guys who are going to step up on the edge. Draws my. But that's what you need. You need a guy that can push the line back, and I think that's why you're bringing Braden in. I think he's going to be able to make an impact at some point in the season. He is coming off a surgery, a microsurgery, I believe, in his shoulder.
It's his arm, yeah.
In his arm, yeah. Which I don't think, from all reports, it isn't that. Hopefully, that's serious. He'll be able to be back, by the start of the season. But this is what you need to get. And once again, Florida State's gone into the portal and they've addressed a serious need on this team. I think the only remaining need that you have right now is that defensive back and safety. And you still got the kid out of UVA, Cypress, who's still available, and you got him on campus already. So I think if you go out there and you land a safety and a couple of defensive backs and maybe a linebacker, you're going to be in a really good position. But they've gone out there and they've gotten, I think, 6 out of the top 30, top 50 transfer portal guys available. And these are guys well experienced, have stats. You're not taking in projects, right? You're not taking in guys that need to be developed, like the kid out of Illinois. Who's the receiver we got?
Deuce Spann.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to get Deuce Spann that you see high potential in. That's going to have a couple of years to need to develop. Now you're going to guys with experience underneath their belt that are going to be expected to make an impact and get you to compete for an ACC championship next year. So I'm excited. I'm excited at what this staff has done. And you're kind of making up for the shortcomings in the high school recruiting game of this past season. So, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think number one, that's a big pickup for the interior line. A huge pickup. Thank you, David.
Thanks,
you
David.
too. That's a huge pickup. I think it's sad he's only coming in as a 1-year merchant, type guy. But that's what we've had. We've had Jermaine Johnson for 1 year. Mm-hmm. That's the nature of the portal. And this guy should be able to really help us on the line. I think we need one more DL, one more interior lineman. If there's somebody in the portal that can give us, even if he gets into the rotation, he's not a starter, but he gets a lot of reps. Because a guy like that's already been someplace at college level for 2 years, he's had the weight room, he's had the reps on the field, and he can give us that backup that we need, even if he doesn't start. So I think that's a big pickup. I think I don't know how much more help we need in the defensive backfield. I know it hasn't been a super strength for us, but we've got some players back there. It's a matter of probably their development going into next season. Because going into the 2023 season, it's really going to be about the defense of how far this team goes. Yeah. Because all the offensive weapons are coming back, except we got to rebuild the offensive line a little bit. But I think there's going to be a lot of experience here. Thank you, Jody. Go Noles. So I think Norvell's done a tremendous job again in the portal. He's used this tool very effectively. And the last time I saw earlier this week, we were like number 2 in portal, ranked number 2.
Number one now.
We're number 1 now because we were right ahead of Colorado, who was number 3. Colorado under Deion Sanders is really hammering that portal. He's putting out call list on Twitter. I don't know if you've seen those.
Whoever's managing his social media account needs to get a raise because I know he's not doing all those tweets himself.
Well, I don't know. Well, maybe not.
I think it's like his son. No,
he's approved it. He's approved it. You know, so it doesn't matter. He is telling people out on Twitter and other social media, which I don't follow, that what he needs, and he goes, "You know how to reach me." It's an amazing process what is going on in college football. Now, I think we did okay in the high school recruiting for 2023. And I think Norvell's getting more comfortable with that, and he's making his presence known in the state of Florida. So I think that's going well, too. So those are my thoughts.
One thing I want to know on transfer portal ranking, what we're doing is great. Like you see here, we're first, first overall. And I think, some people have said, I think some people on Twitter, like Miami fans, have said, it's not over yet, da-da-da. Well, it is kind of transfer portal isn't closed. That is correct. But a lot of the big fish are out right now. A lot of the big fish have already committed. And that's the key part. The first couple of weeks, the big guys are going to switch over, right? Those are the big guys that are going to put their name in and they're going to visit and they're going to decide, right? They want to get it wrapped up. They want to decide where they're going, stuff like that. You may see some guys now after bowl game, because like you said, most big names aren't going to go play in a bowl game and then opt out, right? They're not going to put their body through that practice for 4 weeks, then opt out, and then go into the portal and then transfer because they don't want to risk injury, stuff like that. You're going to definitely see some more kids go in, but these aren't going to be your high 4 or 5-star guys then going into a portal. Most of the big names have committed now. The last name, I think the last big name that went in was Sam Hartman, which I kind of got surprised, and then he's going to Notre Dame. I thought he was going to go to the NFL or just be done with.
That's going to be very interesting to see him at Notre Dame.
But that'll be fun. Yeah,
he's a good quarterback.
Yeah, well, I thought he was. I'm just thankful that he's done with Wake Forest, so we don't have to face that anymore. He's out of there. But I think the biggest thing to remember is that Florida State's gotten a lot better in the transfer portal, right? But we have to face LSU, and they're getting a lot better, right? So they're right behind us in terms of what they're adding and the strength of their recruits that they're bringing in. So we're not going to see, right, the same old LSU team that we saw last season. So we have to be aware of, just because we can get better, really, we can get impact players overnight, but so can our opponents. So can the ACC teams that were garbage last year, Miami, Florida, teams that we maybe destroyed last year, they can make up the gap too if they get a couple of players on defensive side and offensive side. If they're able to recruit players, like if LSU gets a couple of players, they brought in some defensive line guys to impact their side of the ball because of how offensively we looked against them early in the first half of that game. So we're not going to see the same old LSU team, and Brian Kelly's doing a hell of a job down there. So that's something you have to be aware of. And just looking at the ACC, Miami's bringing in some guys too, especially on the offensive line, and I think they brought in a couple of defensive players. But overall, we've done really well, especially in the ACC. But you have to be aware the transfer portal can, change programs that you have have next year. And it's not only us, but we definitely, Florida State's done a hell of a job. And
this will be the subject of another show.
Yeah.
As we get into the slower season. But what we're looking at now is what
Yeah, Mark, I totally agree with you. At skill positions next year on offense, our offense
absolutely.
should be scary. At
Absolutely.
receiver, running back, it's probably the deepest offensive skill position we've had since a national championship team, I would say.
And this will all come up during the offseason as we talk more and more about this. Here's why we're here tonight primarily. And that is, how the hell do we keep this? Do we keep the climb going? And how do we beat this? Can we beat this Oklahoma team? That's really what we're here to focus on tonight. Okay. Now, I'm going to the game. Okay. It's a long story how the hell I'm going to the game. And we don't need to maybe go through all that. Well, I'll tell you real quick.
Oh, okay.
I had two decent tickets, right? And I was going with my girlfriend, Liz. She gets stuck in Dallas, Fort Worth, where she still is now because of the great Southwest Airlines chaos. She can't make it here until Friday. They gave her no alternative. She had to rebook. So I sell the two tickets. I sold the two tickets, got my money plus about $25 back. But I'm going to go to the game, but I'm playing that last minute buy a ticket lottery thing. I'm going to drive over there tomorrow. Hopefully, maybe I'll see some people out there. I'll be wearing one of my new merch. Look at this shirt. The new Seminoles Sideline 365. There's me with the hot sauce, and KB can hook you up if you want one of these, and maybe we'll have some.
Let's not go that far yet. I don't have a huge inventory.
Maybe we can do some giveaways. But I'm going to be over there, and I think it's going to be wild. Now, this is basically a home game for Florida State. You can go online right now and buy a cheaper ticket. The cheaper tickets are on the Oklahoma side. So maybe I'll go sit over there and see how they react to this game, because I've listened to enough of their folks online that they're a little concerned about this Florida State team.
Well, okay. Well, there's a couple of reasons for that.
And I've got a couple of reasons why they're scared.
Well, okay. One thing I want to address, and there was a comment here by David, is that a lot of people debating, do bowl games even matter anymore?
Yes, it does matter.
And I think, David, this is a great comment.
It does matter.
And he believes that they do for the conversation.
And I'll tell you why.
You go ahead. Exposure for the program. And I do think they do matter. One, for the practices that you get with your talents, especially your freshmen. And now that these games don't count towards that 4+ game limit for freshmen to keep their red shirt, I think absolutely we'll see a lot. You'll potentially see guys like Hill and guys that were on that bubble to break that red shirt rule. You'll get to see them get playing time, valuable playing time against a decent Oklahoma team.
I don't know if Hill's going to see any playing time. He might have already used his 4 games.
It won't. Did you not just hear what I said? Bowl games no longer apply to that rule, and that's why it's so big now, because bowl games do not apply to the 4-game redshirt rule anymore. So that's why I think it's important that, one, they get the practices with the team, and 2, they can play in meaningful snaps in the bowl game and get on the field against quality competition. So that's why I think it's important. And then, David, to your point, it also does matter because you get the brand on TV, on ESPN, 5:30 Thursday, during, people are still off, it's, during New Year's week, it still matters. And you can talk about it with recruits. Okay, if you have a good showing against Oklahoma, it's 2 good brands going against each other. It still matters. It's not like you're playing, Tulsa or some low-level program. You play the good brand, no matter if they're 6-6, it still matters. So in that regard, yes, I do think, to your point, David, I think it still does matter in that regard.
And let me say this: I watched the presser between Norvell and Brent Venerable, and they, of course, they say the coaching general question and answer stuff. That's pretty much what it is. But they really made the claim that it does matter, okay? That they mix practice and the game with some fun rewards for the team for the year. But if you don't think that these coaches, number one, are going to have these guys ready to go and that this game matters, it sure the hell does. Because when you compete in anything, you don't want to lose. And Florida State, I think if Florida State loses this game, it's a huge deal. It's not something we can just blow off and make up excuses that it didn't matter. This program is still rebuilding. It's trying to rebuild for 2023 to make a big push. We need to win this game because we are the better team on the field and on paper than this Oklahoma team. And I'm going to tell you why we're the better team. First of all, Oklahoma is 6-6 on the season. They lost their last game. Here are who they beat this year. They beat UTEP. They beat Kent State. And they beat Nebraska. There's 3 of their wins right there. No brainers there. They beat Kansas, Iowa State, and Oklahoma State. So I don't think they beat anybody really good there, in my opinion. But here's what scares me a little bit. This team could actually be 9-6. They could actually be 9-6. They lost to Baylor by 3 points. They lost to West Virginia by 3 points. And they lost to Texas Tech in an overtime game by 3 points. They could have 3 more wins in the win column. They got blown out by TCU. They got beat up by Texas 49-0. They lost to Kansas State, who has a very good football team. Now, there was discussion on social media that Florida State played a weak schedule this year, weak opponents. I believe that could be somewhat true. That could be somewhat true. And I'm not the only one who agrees with that. Some of the Florida State gurus on social media also are saying that could be true as well. So let me say this. We have to be very leery of this Oklahoma team tomorrow. They have a darn good quarterback, and that's Dylan Gabriel, who from the state of Florida, he had a good career at UCF, went into the portal and transferred out. He is a quality quarterback. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he can throw the rock. Now, he's not very mobile, and he doesn't run, and he stays in the pocket. So you've got kind of a Peyton Manning, Tom Brady guy there who's not going to run a lot. Yeah. But this guy can throw the rock downfield, and he's got the stats and career stats to show that he can do that. They've got a pretty good offensive coordinator, Jeff Levy, and their head coach, Brent Venable. This guy is a motivator. He's the long-time defensive coordinator at Clemson, and we hated facing his defenses. Now, and I'll shut up here in a minute. Let me finish. I'm a little surprised how poorly his defense played this year. And that's why I'm starting to slide back to Florida State, that we should take advantage of their defense, because I've got some numbers on them. First of all, in scoring defense, Oklahoma was number 99 in the country, giving up 29.5 points. Mm-hmm. All right. And we're averaging scoring offense 36.2. So if we execute properly on offense, we should be probably scoring 40-plus points on this defense in this game. Now, the other thing we need to know is on offense, Oklahoma is going to be without 3 starters on their offensive line. 3 starters who have a lot of reps. and a lot of experience. They're going to be without their center, which is a crucial position. They're going to be, I think it's the right tackle and left tackle are going to be out. And they're going to have to go likely to inexperienced players, and or I heard a true freshman is going to have to start. Now, we are returning all of our defensive line, unless I've missed something. We should take advantage of that offensive line and create havoc without having to blitz a lot of people. If we can't take advantage of that, I am going to be disappointed and shocked and want to know what the hell went on out there. Okay? So, given that, now, one other thing, then I'll shut up. This Oklahoma team can still score points. They're number 34 ranked in the country, scoring 32.9 points a game. That's through the air and a big chunk through the rushing yardage they put up. Here's the bad news for Oklahoma. Guess who's not going to be playing? Their senior running back who put up 1,300 yards, and his name's Gray.
Eric Gray.
Eric Gray. This guy is opting out to get ready for the draft. I don't blame the guy. I don't blame him. Why would he put it on the line? Obviously, he's not going to do it like a lot of guys in CFB do. They're not going to do it. But that is a huge loss for them because they don't have anybody in the top 200 backs in this CFB that have any yardage to amount to anything. Period. Now, given that fact, I got to go with the Noles on this game, and maybe handily, but I am a little leery. If we're not playing our best, that Oklahoma, if they keep it close, they could cause problems.
Yeah, like you said, I think if this game was, if each team had full starters coming to the game, I think it would be a lot closer. I think the final number for total opt-outs for Oklahoma in terms of people declining for draft or transferring, or I think their total opt-out number is 20 players altogether. As opposed to Florida State in terms
players.
Yeah, and that's that's everything, but that's a lot. And in terms of starters, I think they got 3, 4, 5 plus players. They're going to be missing on both sides of the ball. And to your point, this is a 6-6 team. So for you to lose 20 players and then 3 to 4 plus B starters, that's a huge loss.
The pressure is all on Florida State. This team, Oklahoma, you just read the numbers. It would be embarrassing to lose to them based on what you just said. How would we explain that when we have our entire team playing?
Well, the only explanation is that each team has a month to prepare for each other. This isn't a week after you just played another opponent.
Yeah, but so
you have, to your point, you just gave their coaching staff high regards. You said they're some of the best coordinators in the game, so you give them a month to prepare for Florida State's offense.
Yeah, right? But you're still playing. You're still plugging in inexperienced players on the Oklahoma side, and we're playing our number one groups. We don't have anybody opting out.
This was a team that was 3 points away from having 8 wins versus 6 losses.
Yeah, but 20 of those guys aren't playing.
Okay,
KB.
but like 20 of those guys, all 20 of those guys were getting reps, right?
All 20 of those guys, they've lost all those reps, is what I'm saying. If we were to lose to Oklahoma, I don't know how the hell we're going to explain it. I don't know how you would explain it.
Like I said, they should win the game. They have to win the game. They need to win the game. That's why they're a 9.5 point favorite, because they have they're very much
everything's in our favor.
Everything's in our favor, especially basically at home. So everything's in your favor. One, like you said, you're going against one of the worst run defenses in college football. They're giving up almost 200 yards per game. You have the 12th best rushing attack in the game. I expect Florida State to keep it pretty simple. Run the ball down their throat. Use Trey, use Lawrence, use Trayshawn. Just run it down until they can't stop it. The only way Oklahoma wins this game is if you get sloppy and you turn the ball over. If Jordan Travis tries to do too much, he gets tackled, fumbles the ball. If he tries to get fancy and throw the ball through the air and tries to throw it over across the middle while he's rushing, the only way this Florida State offense, the only way Florida State loses this game is they try to get too fancy with it, like we saw early in the season when they goal line plays. You're doing these stupid goal line plays. You fumble the ball in the goal line, or Jordan Travis has a horrific game through the air and he fumbles it, throws an interception. What they should need to do is just run the ball to win the game. It doesn't have to be pretty. Run the ball to win the game. There's no reason with all the pieces missing on the defensive side that you should not be able to run the ball to win the game. Like I said, I don't care if you win by 7. I don't care if you win by 45, but you should be able to run the ball to win the game. The run first, pass second will win you this game. There's no reason it shouldn't. You have an entirely healthy offensive line. You have an entirely healthy running back, wide receiver unit who can block downfield, and you have an entirely healthy running back unit. Use them. This is why Trey Benson's coming back. Use him for 20-plus carries and win the damn game. The second thing is, on offense, they can still score on you. Marvin Mims is one of the best receivers in college football.
He's been a little inconsistent
he's a 1,000-plus yard receiver.
I know, but that comes from OU analysts that I've been watching.
He can still make plays on you, just like Florida was able to make plays on you in the first half. They were able to throw the big. They made a couple big plays on your defensive backfield. You had and Dylan Gabriel's hell of a better passer than Florida's quarterback was. So if at all, that offensive line should not be able to hold up against Florida State. But if they give him time, I guarantee you they are going to try to connect on some big balls because they know the only way they're going to beat Florida State is on big plays. They're not going to be able to draw this game out into 12-play, 10-minute drives. They're going to have to set up big plays to win this big game, right? So they're going to look for big plays down the field. They're going to try to expose our defensive backs as much as possible.
If we play man on man too, which we play a lot of.
Exactly. And I think they're going to try to set up a big plays down the field because they're not going to try to get into the slow slog of a play with us because they know they can't go shot for us. So they are going to have to try to find big plays against our defensive backs because if they try to get into a scoring battle with us, they're going to lose that game. And eventually our defensive line will wear down their offensive line. So that is or we'll slow down the game. We'll just rush it against them. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of offensive game plan they go with us. But I expect them to try to test us over the top if they get any time within the pocket and to see if their offensive line can hold up early. And then I go back to the point I made before, turnovers. This is really one of the biggest things that you'll see potentially. And Florida State's has some issues sometimes, but they've really cleaned up in the second half. And you saw sometimes Trayshawn Ward fumbling the ball, but they really cleaned up during this back end stretch. If we can play clean, the running backs can hold on to the ball. If Jordan Travis can hold on to the ball, if he scrambles at all, or if he could just take a sack. I know he hates taking sacks, but if the receiver isn't there,
just throw the ball away.
Just throw the ball away or take the damn sack. That it's not life or death. You don't have to force it to the middle. And sometimes he does tend to force the ball.
Yeah, he doesn't do that a lot. I mean, he doesn't do what he doesn't do what the NFL quarterbacks, as an NFL quarterback, you have to do. And that is throw the damn ball into the stands now and then, well over the heads of, just to get rid of it and not take the sack and put you in 3rd and 15. You're exactly right.
Yeah. And Mike, I do think Coach Norvell with a month of time will have this team ready to go. And I think to everyone's point is that these players opted back in for a reason to play in this bowl game. They want to get to 10 wins. They're going to be, if they wouldn't have locked in, especially these juniors who are going to be seniors, they didn't opt back in to play in these bowl game practices and keep working hard if they didn't care about this game going against 6-6 Oklahoma. They're going to be ready to play, in my opinion. They're going to be focused and keyed in. So I'm excited to see what they have. And Mark, to your point, you're right. I think OU is going to pack the box, similar to what teams did towards the end of the season, like Florida did, and they're going to try to sell on the run defense. But somehow, some way, we've been able to run pretty sort of effectively against a pack the box. But like you said, if they sell on packing the box and forcing us to run, pass out of it, like you said, someone's going to have to step up. Jordan's going to have to step up. The tight end's going to have to step up. Maybe we see a lot of more play action out of Jordan Travis, and he's going to use his legs to open it up more.
And there's no reason he shouldn't. No. Okay, just play. Let the game come to you. Read what they're doing and do what you've done for the last 5 straight wins that we've put in the books.
Yeah.
But it is about discipline. Don't have an enormous amount of penalties, and don't turn the football over. Get the most out of your possessions that you get. Don't let this team hang around, because, as we've already said, you have to respect Dillon Gabriel if he's in the game. Now, he's had a few little injuries here and there, but he's going to be the starter. He's ranked number 25 in passing efficiency at a 1.54. Jordan Travis, who we think is an elite quarterback, he's number 16, just below him at 1.58. They're almost equal
Dillon's
in terms of touchdowns, interceptions. Yeah, I mean, so this is a offense that is putting up 29, almost 30 points a game against decent opponents. I would say on par, maybe a little above the teams we played this year. That's a little hard to judge, but you know what? I think this game could be a little bit closer, but it shouldn't be, given what we've already discussed.
Yeah, and like you said, for certain players, this could be their final NFL tape they have.
And who's
guys like Jared Verse, Jamie Robinson, potentially Fabian Lovett, guys like that. I think they are. This is why they're coming back too. This is against a brand name like Oklahoma. They know they have an opportunity with tons of NFL scouts who could be there. They're going to come to Orlando, and they can put on the highlight tape for themselves potentially.
And you know what?
This isn't like Senior Bowl. This is actually a regulated game where they can show off their technique, their ability to make fill some stats up against other college competition, not some all-star exhibition. But this is their final chance to make to decide and put in some of the scouts
against a weakened OU offensive line. So if these guys, but here's the problem: if they play and they don't play well against this rebuilt offensive line of Oklahoma, that can be a negative too. So I think the motivation is there. You're all in. If you say you're going to play, then you're going to go out there and you're going to play hard, especially knowing now that they have some problems up front.
And I haven't heard it being discussed, but I don't know. Maybe Jared Verse will be on the snap count. Maybe Jamie Robinson will be on the snap count.
Why would they be on a snap count?
Why would they be? Just to say we're going to put you. Maybe I don't know if they have an internal. Like I said, I haven't heard anything, but maybe to preserve. Like they're going to play the first half, and if it gets out of hand, or if we're up by 20, we're going to take you out. Maybe there's an agreement. Like we want to get some tape for you in this game. If you get a sack early on or a couple sacks early on, we're going to pull you to preserve you. Like, because the results in the end doesn't matter for those guys. Jared Verse had a conversation with Mike Gravel, like, I made my decision after this game. I am going to go pro, but I want to play. I don't want to disrupt the locker room.
Right.
I don't want to announce already.
Right.
But if I get a couple of sacks, I want to be pulled out. Just preserve my health. Maybe there is that type of agreement.
Okay.
But to not be.
I don't have a. You know what? I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that.
I don't
People, as long as they're working with their coaching staff, and that's it. Now, the problem would be with the fan base if that was the agreement, and then all of a sudden the game gets out of control and we lose. Do you put Jared Verse back on? Do we go over and say, hey, Jared, I need you back in the game? I mean, it gets a little tricky.
Yeah.
It gets a little tricky on these guys.
That's why I wonder if there are these agreements. Like, I think if a player, like you said, didn't want to make an announcement beforehand, distract the team around this before the ball and get off the goal here, winning, I could see potentially some agreements like this around certain players.
I don't know how some of that stuff wouldn't get out, though.
Like I said, it's all metaphorical,
right,
and stuff like that. But I could see Mike doing something like that just to protect the player and doing that for the best. What's best for the player in that long term.
Right. But there are some other guys. There's a couple other guys.
Yeah.
Dylan Gibbons, who's done a great job this year on and off the field. Yeah. That he has a chance to really put something on tape too, that maybe he can get, if he doesn't get drafted, unsigned free agent. Yeah. A lot of guys go unsigned free agent and they make the football team.
Yeah.
and offensive linemen are hard to get. And Dylan Gibbons is a hard worker. Yeah. He has certain talents and so on. So there's other guys that are going to get a look here.
But I'm telling you, this will be a game where guys will be tested. The linebackers and defensive backs are going to be tested, and they are going to give up some points. I mean, Dylan Gabriel in his last 2 games against
they're going to score points.
He's thrown the ball 40 times. He's at 40 attempts. He threw over for close to 500 yards against Texas Tech in that overtime game, 6 touchdowns. The guy can throw the damn ball, and so to expect them, well, they're down guys. This team is going to put up a fight, and like I said, they're going to test us over the top. And you saw what Florida could do, and they were missing 6 receivers, right? They were missing 5 or 6 receivers. So that was a team that was missing a lot of guys too, and that was a shootout. So I think there may be a little bit of overconfidence going to this game to say, well, look, they've got some opt-outs, and they do. The team we're facing has a lot of opt-outs on both sides of the ball. But you saw what Florida was missing. And they put it on our defense for a good bit in that game.
Well, let me clarify what you're saying. I've spent time at the University of Oklahoma back some years for work purposes. Okay, they have as proud a tradition as Florida State does. They are not going to come in here and want to get belly rolled by anybody. No. Okay. And I don't care who their backups are. These guys are hard-nosed players coming out of the Midwest. A lot of them come out of Texas, okay? And a lot of them are self-grown out of Oklahoma. The first time I went to the University of Oklahoma, I go to a university, I always want to go to their sports center. And I went into their sports museum that's open to the public. And what is the first thing that greets me? What? It is the year, and I forget the year. The year Oklahoma beat us for the national championship. They're playing that video right on a TV as I walk in. Mm-hmm. So this team, as you have said, and as I've said from the beginning of this program, we should not be overconfident in how this game could play out. And no. Dylan Gabriel is going to have a lot of friends there in the stadium. Okay? People that know him and support him. He is going to want to put a lot on tape as well. Yeah. So the defensive secondary and this defense is going to be under pressure. And it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, and the final thing I'll say is that, and it sounds like I'm making excuses, and I'm not saying Florida State needs to win this game. If they want to continue the momentum into potentially
it'll be embarrassing
for an ACC title next year, they need to win this game. Everyone should be locked in. Everyone's opted in.
It's the same team. It's the same team we've had.
But Oklahoma is a talented team. They are a talented team that's recruited much better than Florida State has the last 3 seasons. So with the opt-outs, they still are going to have a team capable of upsetting Florida State. So this Florida State team with the Dylan Gabriel against them is going to have to be locked in for 4 quarters. If they get up by 11 or 12 or 14 points going in the 4th quarter, they have to put them away. They can't go into conservative mode. Oh, it's Tate Rodemaker's turn.
Oh, they're not.
You have to bury them. You have to bury them by 21 points, 28 points. You cannot let up. That's why I said, if you can run the ball for 4 quarters and put it down their throat every single drive, do it. This is a team, talent-wise, and the paper is actually better than you. Team talent ratings, if you go to 24/7 Sports site and look at team talent ratings and what they have compared to you, talent-wise, top to bottom, they are a better team than you. But currently, what's available to them, you have the better team. You've looked like the better team this past season because of what you've done dynamically, offensively, and defensively. But what I'm saying is you need to close from 1st quarter to 4th quarter until the time is out. And you need to put it on them from every single drive. Burn the clock, run it down their throat, expose what's missing on their active roster, and close it out strong. That's all I'm saying. You should beat them. That's what the spread dictates. Put them on them. Expose their weak points and make it hard on them. Limit the amount of touches Dylan Gabriel gets of the ball. Limit his touches and you win this game easily.
We need to, I would say, on at least 60%. I want to say 70, but that's kind of high. Scoring points, and I'm not just talking field goals, scoring points is 60 to 70% of our possessions in both halves. We can't, as you just said, we can't be making dumb mistakes to let this football team hang around. They're 3 points away from 3 wins in 3 games. And one was an overtime game. It's a dangerous animal who has been disrespected now by the country. And they're going to come in here down 9.5 points on the gamblers' bets. And they have nothing to lose. They're down 20 players. They're underdogs. They're on the road. They have every reason to lose. If they pull this off, there better be some damn good questions inside the locker room at the presser. Now, fans may be saying, oh, these guys are negative. You guys are too conservative. We're going to win the game. I believe we're going to win the game. Yeah. And we should win the game. And we're Knowles fans. We're not CBS here. We're not Danny Cannell. But you can't overlook opponents. And Florida State has done a good job of that. Mike Norvell has had his team focused no matter what. But in the last 5 wins, I think 3 of those teams didn't have a starting quarterback. They lost them in injuries or something. Van Dyke was injured. The Syracuse guy was injured. They started some.
You've had some luck against injuries. I mean,
we
Anthony
had
Richardson was the starter. Louisiana was the starter.
Yeah.
But like you said, you had some banged up quarterbacks: Miami, Syracuse, Georgia Tech. So
we can't give up explosive plays. Yeah. That's one of the big keys. Don't give up. Make them grind it out all the way down. Make them make the mistake. Don't give them some long ball over the top. If you play too much man-to-man, they'll throw the ball up, try to make a play, or go for the interference call.
Yeah.
That happens.
And to Mark's point, I think you have to play. You'll see a lot more zone tomorrow. I think you'll play a lot more zone tomorrow. Tomorrow to limit the big plays, keep it in front of you. But it starts with the inside. If you can get interior pressure on Dylan, he's athletic, but he's not athletic enough to break out, and he's not going to pull Anthony Richardson on you. So that's where it comes down. Can we get interior pressure? Can we get him uncomfortable? Can Jerry Verse cause pressure off the edge? And can we get to him? If we can get to him, it's going to be a long day for them, and we'll win this comfortably. If we can, if he's comfortable in the pocket, I know they're missing Morris, they're missing their best offensive tackle, and that's what should be exposed. And maybe we'll see a lot more pressure from Thomas from the secondary. Maybe we'll see the low blitzing, which I hope we do, to really cause that pressure from them. I expect the secondary to be blitzing probably often to put pressure in Dylan's face. But so I say we give our predictions. I think we're now regurgitating the same.
Yeah. Okay.
So what is your final score then?
I see it 48-32 Florida State. Big scoring game. I'd take I don't know what the over-under is. What is Vegas doing on over-under? You see it or don't work?
The over-under.
Yeah, I see Florida State 48 and Oklahoma 32. 16-point spread. I don't see us having the game where a massive amount of our backups get in the game because it's a feel-good situation. I don't think 16 points is big enough spread to start.
Wait, why do you say 16 points? It's 9.5 points.
I said 48-32. That's my prediction.
Over under 65 points.
Okay, I'm going to say I would take the over on that. I don't think this is a backup game for Florida State. I think it's a battle throughout the 4 quarters, and we're going to have a big FSU crowd there that is going to be all over the stadium. And I think there's no way we can't walk out of here with a victory.
Yeah.
And if we do, then there should be questions.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think this is a backups game per se, but I do think that we cover the spread. I think this is probably a 40. I'd say like a 45-32 type game, something like that. I do think our offense will be able to put up big points as long as we and win comfortably as long as we play a clean game. If we play a clean game, I don't think they'll be able to stop us offensively, especially what we've done the last few weeks against decent defenses. And they haven't shown the ability to stop, even with a full team. Defensively, they have not played strong all year, even with a full roster. But I do think they'll be able to pull up points with us, even with some losses on the offensive line. I just think they have a good wide receiver combo, QB combo there. And this will be a game for guys like Jamie Robinson and Shaheem and those guys to put some game tape on it to see if they can stop an explosive offense, even with some guys missing. Can they show up? And then can Jared Verse and that secondary and even the linebackers coming from the zone, can they come down and put pressure on Dylan Gabriel, and can they put up some highlights, and can they stop that offense? So I do think, I think it's an over 65. That point total will be over, and I do think that we win.
Well, let me give the infamous weather report for all the fans going. There are still tickets available, but they're going to have a really good crowd there, and I am hoping, unless something goes wrong, that I will be a member of that crowd. The Orlando weather, it's going to be a high of 78. Okay, that's a high of 78. That could play to our advantage as well. The humidity is going to be between 68 and 86%. So for the Oklahoma players coming out where it's really cold as hell, now they've been in Florida for a while, but playing football in Florida is different than going to the fun spot in Orlando. Okay, there's a difference there. Sunset's going to be at 5:37. The game kicks off at 5:30, so we're going to get in darkness pretty quick, probably under the lights as soon as we kick the ball off. But chance of rain is 9 to 13%. Don't expect any rain here, and it's going to be a damn good day for football. It's going to be a damn good day for football.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be a fun one. Should be good weather, like you said, and be a cool one under the lights. So I expect a fun game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the last thing is, and most of you already know about this, is our state championship holiday gift giving. We're able and very happy and able to make donations to the Boys and Girls Club of the Big Bend up in Tallahassee, as well as Big Man, Big Heart, Dylan Gibbons' organization that goes out into the community and helps a lot of people, as well as the Leon County Humane Society. And it gives us great pleasure, KB and myself, to be able to make such a generous donation to these organizations during the holiday season. And we like that in-state challenge. We beat Miami, we beat Florida, and I've got the shirt to prove it right here. Where is it?
State champs. There you go.
I know. And here it is. Can you see it?
Yeah, we can see it. There you go.
Can you see it? Yeah. What a great shirt. What a great shirt I got over the holidays. And that's a big deal. So we got to keep this program going. We've got the momentum in the portal. We got the momentum in high school signings. We're getting 4- and 5-star guys. We've got the momentum on the field. This is a step. This is not bowl games don't count. All right. This is not one of them. It may not count for Oklahoma, and we don't give a shit how they look at it. Okay. It is a big deal for this program.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's going to do it. The last thing news-wise I want to just share, because I think it just happened today, but it's relevant to Florida State. Ernie Sims just got a new coaching gig in the state of Florida. If you didn't see, well, he was at USF, but now he's got named as a new linebackers coach at UCF.
Oh, that's great. Ernie Sims, brilliant linebacker. A guy that played well above where everybody thought he would. He played with the Detroit Lions, for a good while. He was in the NFL several years, had a good career in the NFL. This guy knows ball. And it's great to see him in his coaching career now. It's really good to see that.
So he was at USF, I believe, the last 3 years, linebackers coach, co-defensive coordinator. Now he's joining Gus Malzahn at UCF. And
nice.
I think he's known as a pretty good developer of players and a good recruiter as well. So
hey, remember now the key matchup, right? Dylan Gabriel against Tatum Bethune. They played together.
Former teammates at USF.
They played together at
yeah.
UCF. And I'm sure Novell picked his brain a little bit about what to expect with this guy. Where's his weakness?
Yeah.
Because he saw him in practice a lot.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. Thanks, David. Hopefully I can get one of those shirts like Bruce has. So hopefully he'll send me one if we win this game, but we'll see. All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. Once again, tomorrow's matchup, 5:30, Oklahoma, Florida State.
ESPN.
ESPN, have it on. I'll have to cut off of work a little bit early to go watch that, or record a little bit, then start a little bit.
Take a couple hours off. You got to go to the dentist.
But y'all enjoy that game. We may have an instant reaction after that show.
After
that game.
We may have some live. Maybe I'll shoot some live stuff there for you.
Yeah, so at minimum, I'll be on doing a quick live reaction at post-game reaction. So be sure to join us to get the emotions right after the game. Hopefully it's celebrating the win. If not, well, it'll be an entertaining loss reaction.
Maybe I'll be in the locker room, you know?
Well, maybe. But
y'all, the beer shower.
Thanks for joining us tonight. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe. We'd love to have you so you get the alerts next time we're live. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy your Wednesday night. We'll see you Thursday, and have a great rest of your week. Take care, y'all. See ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.